Hi, it's Linda Fox. I'm senior reporter with PhocusWire. I'm at the World Aviation Festival and we're in partnership with Pros. I'm here with Marc Fontaine. He's a Digital Transformation Officer with Airbus. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
So just to kick off, you're a massive aircraft manufacturer. So I always think of digital transformation in terms of an airline, you know, their websites, their mobile, their distribution. What does an aircraft manufacturer do in terms of digital transformation?
If you think of the silos you can have in an airline, between operation, maintenance, engineering, you can imagine at the scale of Airbus the size of the silos we have into a company. Especially because these companies are producing products that live over 30 years with the associated industrial landscape and supply chain. So by definition, our industrial systems get very old very quickly in terms of IT infrastructure. So bridging these silos in terms of digital continuity, recovering the data, recreating this digital continuity is extremely important to allow people to anticipate, to resolve crises much more faster. So we prototyped that at the scale of Airbus for the last 3 years. It involved creating a data lake that we have called Skywise, in which we pull use case by use case our operational data from thousands of systems, literally. We have 13 users internally on the platform, and 2 years ago we have decided to extend it beyond the boundaries of the company, because data discontinuity doesn't stop at the company boundaries. So we have reached to airlines and we have reached backwards to the supply chain. So that means not only can we bridge the discontinuities inside Airbus, but now we can blend data from aircraft in operations with manufacturing data from Airbus, engineering data from Airbus, and equipment data from the suppliers. And we can jointly resolve in-service issues, operational interruptions, or industrial problems much more efficiently.
So let's come back to data again in a minute, because I want to sort of talk about that as a separate subject. What about I can imagine that airlines are quite exacting in what they want these days. So do they come to you with a basic set of requirements in terms of what they want to see on when you deliver an aircraft?
In terms of digital functionality is not so much. Of course, we are all very clear on what is needed from the pilot side and operations. But as far as the digital enablement is concerned, not so much yet. That's why we have launched an initiative with a certain number of OneWeb partners, which is called Seamless Alliance, in which we aim at standardizing a bit the type of thing which are required for passenger connectivity, airline connectivity, and a certain number of passenger-facing digital elements. So it's not yet, I would say, at the stage of requirements. It's more what I see is Airbus or other OEMs taking the initiative of making their platform digital ready for passenger connectivity. So we are talking about more sensors into the cabin. Cabin is not so much equipped in terms of sensors. So we have lots of sensors for operational data of the aircraft, less sensors into the cabin. And it's not sensors to watch passengers, it's sensors to know how much and how the galley is used, the food is used, how much the toilets are used, how people sit, are they comfortable, what is the temperature, what is the pressure, and so on. But we used to do that, but we used to consider the cabin as one element. Now we know that the sensors technology and the connectivity allows, the IoT allows to do that with much more granularity, so that we can fine-tune the way we design and operate the aircraft from a passenger point of view.
And that must fit in with the airline desire to have, you know, sometimes 4 tiers of cabin and how they individually work as well as together.
And a better understanding of what's happening in the cabin, including faster turnaround, because IoT is allowing to go much faster with the transmission of data. What is the status of a certain number of equipment? What is the status of a cabin? What is the status of passengers? And the other thing we are doing basically is we know that our customers will want the aircraft to be connectivity ready. You expect your car to be fully equipped with a navigation system, with the possibility to connect with your telephone and the rest. In the future, we need to be able to provide a platform with the aircraft, optional or line fit, where airlines will be able to, and passengers will be able to plug in a kind of operating system for the aircraft on which you can have applications, you can have a certain number of microservices and technical services that the airline can configure according to its own digital transformation and priorities.
So my understanding was that Wi-Fi connectivity on an aircraft is expensive. Is it coming down? How? Why? Will it come down? And what will the impact then be on passenger connectivity?
There are several elements to the answer. One element is the technical capability of streaming too many people into a cabin on a long range has been lagging. So there has been a technical aspect, including inside the aircraft, to have a satisfactory service in terms of bandwidth. You don't have yet the technical possibility to have a service at the level of an hotel room for 400 or 300 people, or 200, even 200 people. The second thing is, in terms of economical model, it has been quite difficult to find a local profitable business model. I want to say that if you take only one piece of the puzzle, it's not necessarily profitable. It's expensive to install an antenna. It's expensive to provide modification into the cabin. It's expensive to pay connectivity to the ground and connectivity to the satellite. All the elements of these chains are moving. There are new constellations like OneWeb that will provide wider coverage at a cheaper cost. There are new generations of antenna. There is more bandwidth possible into the cabin. There is competitive ground connectivity. However, and that's my personal opinion, you need somebody to somehow take a risk or a bet or responsibility on the overall business case. You don't want to have happening in the sky what happened on land, which means people spending billions in building the pipes and other people making big money on the pipes by providing the content. And I think that's the dilemma that this industry, which is not a content provider, has, is that it's a huge investment to create that chain. But at the same time, the different actors need to find a profitability there. As an OEM and as an aerospace company, providing satellites, providing ground stations, providing aircraft, providing connectivity solutions, we think we can play an active role into that domain, getting all these bricks together. But it's still, with the airline partners, of course, but it's still a
way to go.
A complex equation. I think it's not so long away because all the technicalities are being resolved. The main thing now, I believe, is the business model and the alliances that will make that business model run.
So you talked about the data lake within Airbus, and you talked about getting the organization ready digitally. So talk us through how a company like Airbus then, gets that data out to the airlines, how it then affects their operations, how it helps their operations, and then how that would trickle down to improving the passenger situation.
Absolutely. So what we do with the data lake that we have developed for us is that we provide it free of charge to the airlines. So one thing we are doing is that we are powering the digital transformation of the airline themselves. We are breaking down the silos into the airlines. I mentioned the data silos. So this is enabled by deploying the platform into the airline. It means immediately lots of benefits, the same size of benefits as what we have seen in Airbus, but for the benefit of the airline between its own silos. Suddenly people work simultaneously on the same data. There is one single point of truth. Anticipation and communication is much faster between operation, engineering, maintenance, and so on. So there's no friction cost, digital friction cost. That's within the airline. Then we suppress also by deploying the same backbone. We delete this friction cost between our customers and ourselves. Normally, everything is sequential. You have a problem with the aircraft, you report the problem, you report to another department in the airline who cannot solve it, so it reports to the OEM, which processes but discovers that in fact it's linked to an equipment which is a supplier. By bringing everybody on the same backbone, we totally shrink. We are all on it at the same time. So we blur the boundaries of the companies, which means that we don't have to follow this sequential approach anymore. We can work very much in parallel, and most of the benefits we see are there. We are an industry with a huge working capital, a very expensive asset, and the key to increasing performance and saving money in this industry is anticipation.
Yeah.
So data and data sharing on a common backbone like Skywise is providing is allowing the collective value chain to anticipate or to resolve more quickly the problems. That's where we see double-digit improvement from an operational perspective for the aircraft at the gate and in the end for the flying passengers.
Marc, thank you for joining us. Really appreciate it.
Very welcome. Thank you.